Good Tuesday morning. Proverbs 17:6. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of children is their fathers. If you're actually doing the Through the Bible reading with me, you know that I generally follow one of the points that Nicky Gumbel puts in his devotion in my daily devotion. Sometimes I actually quote him word for word. Today I'm going a completely different direction because I have recently had the privilege to be close to my children and my grandchildren. Now, if you don't have kids, stick with me for a minute because there's an application of this proverb to you as well. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul calls his converts his joy and his crown. If you want to know what parenting's like and you don't have any kids, win somebody to Jesus. Spiritual parenting is much the same as biological parenting. If you doubt that fact, ask somebody who has adopted or fostered children. See if that is not real parenting. Okay, if you hate kids, you can stop the video right here. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of children is their fathers. Would you just allow me to bask in the joy and the crown of fatherhood and grandfatherhood for a moment? Parenting for me is a holy joy. It's pure and good, and it elevates my soul. It takes my thoughts and my cares away from myself and my ministry, and it focuses on those little bundles of energy. Like all holy joys, it's lasting. It doesn't just evaporate with time. In fact, it grows and it deepens as the parent-child affection develops and matures. Let me see if I can illustrate for you what I'm talking about in that process of maturing the parenting relationship. I have 6 grandkids, 3 from each of my sons. Luke's 3 boys actually lived in my home for a large portion of their childhood, so I know those 3 grandsons much better than I know Philip's 3 children. Last week, when we got to Pittsburgh to see Philip and his brood, I created as many of those silly pappy moments as I could, because I'm that guy. But the highlight of the trip for me was getting past the, "Hi Pappy, it's so good to see you," to this. PJ resting on my chest. It's almost his bedtime. There was no silly. He was wide awake, but kind of pretending to be asleep, as I just lovingly caressed the back of his head. Just loving, intimate, comfortable affection. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged. But what about the other direction? The glory of children are their fathers. Now, I've prided myself in trying to grow adult relationships with my sons and their wives. As a pastor, I talk to way too many people who are estranged from their adult children. And while I believe and understand the biblical premise, leave and cleave, it should not have to be abandon and never look back. Happy is the son who, as his judgment matures, he can honor his father with growing and deepening respect and love and joy. It's a very real delight to be able to look back through the later years of life and recall memories of your beloved and revered parents who've passed on. I've got some real fine memories of my father. And to be honest, I have fewer of my mother because she passed when I was only 15 years old. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of children is their fathers. Luke, Tia, Leo, Eli, and Jojo, Philip and Stephanie, PJ, Emma Ray and Iris,